Just outside South Africa's capital stands a statue of the man who was behind the ugly policies of apartheid. It's a white-only enclave which allows black visitors only under special permit. But this is not some sort of open-air history museum. It's very real, self-sustained community. Paula Slier went to explore.
A half-hour drive north of South Africa's capital, Pretoria, and you'll be forgiven for thinking you've travelled back in time. It might be 2 decades since Nelson Mandela was sworn in as the country's first black president. But communities hankering after South Africa's apartheid past, when racial segregation was enshrined in law, are starting to wave their nationalistic colours. When white people first advanced into the interior of South Africa in the 1800s, this is what they saw before them: vast, desolate stretches of land. And now, 150 years later, they're returning to the dreams of their forefathers to create an independent entity with their own laws, flag and language. Welcome to Kleinfontein, an aspiring whites-only enclave. If you're black, you can visit, but only for a few hours and with special permission.
Well, the security is very strict. We don't actually say that blacks or whatever can't come in, but if you got a tag, you can come in.
The first thing that greets you as you come into Kleinfontein is a bust of Hendrik Verwoerd, the former South African Prime Minister, considered the architect of apartheid. All the signposts are written in Afrikaans, the language spoken by the town's 1,000 inhabitants, who can all trace their lineage back to the European settlers who arrived here in the 1600s. Residents insist they are not racist. It's just that they don't welcome Jews, Catholics, or any English speakers either. Marisa Haasbroek has lived in Kleinfontein for 6 years. She says she feels safe here, there's no crime, and she enjoys being part of a community that shares the same culture and history.
This is private property, so we're not taking anything from anybody else. So we don't think it's racial, but we feel strongly about our identity and we want to protect that and preserve it.
Kleinfontein's residents include professors, engineers and other middle-class professionals. They pay fees to a cooperative board that gives them water and electricity. The community has survived largely without the help of the government. It has its own water pumps and a natural reservoir. And there's a shopping centre, a bank, a school, a retirement centre and several small businesses. Its residents say it's self-sufficiency born out of necessity. Their dream is to create their own flag and currency.
The problem we have in South Africa is that many of the laws are based on race. They benefit a certain racial group. They speak of black economic empowerment. Many of our young people that weren't even born in the apartheid era don't have free access to work. They don't have free access to education.
Elisa Smit moved here after being unable to find work. She now cleans houses, a job she's very grateful to have.
My skin is not the right, I'm not black. And applied for work, but there's no work. And then my friend get to work here at Kleinfontein. And that's when we come back here.
Under apartheid, the white Afrikaner-led government forced black South Africans to live in homelands. Now, decades later, the dice has turned, and many white Afrikaners feel that white homelands are their only solution. But many South Africans fear that communities like Kleinfontein are merely lingering outposts of the apartheid era, threatening to return the country back to the dark days of its racist past. Paula Slier, RT, Kleinfontein, South Africa.